Hi, my friend.
Hey, I'm actually in my robe. I'm about to get ready to go, but I wanted to jump on because I thought it was an interesting subject that you're talking about, especially like because I'm a power lifter and
Hmm.
all that stuff. I've always like lifted something at least. But the conversation about um, you know the whole Pilates body thing, whether it's resistance training. Hi, Stella. And hi, Allie. I also love Allie as well. Um, I've had clients come in and say, I want to, like in my bodybuilding days, like I completely different body than powerlifting body for me.
Hmm.
They'd be like, oh, I want my arms to look like this, like yours, or like this person, and blah, blah,
Hey,
blah, and all
Kimberly.
this kind of stuff like
Yes.
that. But I think we forget like each modality has its own purpose. Pilates
Yes.
has its purpose, right? Yoga has its purpose. Strength training, whatever that might look like, has its purpose. Zumba has its purpose. They all affect people's bodies in different ways. So you might
Yes.
have someone who comes into Pilates and, you know, maybe they do get a little bit of a rip or something, right?
Hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's also a genetic thing too, because not
So many
everyone, like
layers.
I could get down on the floor and do a push-up right now, my body's going to be like yes, but that's my body though, that's not
Yes.
everybody's body. So if you have like we all have, like those 60-70-year-old folks come in and they're like, I really want to like, make sure my arms are toned, which I hate that word, and lose all this and all this kind of stuff like that. And if we have the narrative out there that says Pilates can just change all of it, it could
Hmm.
just, yes, you can do it. And, I think we've kind of gotten out of the losing weight thing, but
Yes.
I think it's still out there, you
It
know.
is. It is.
Um, but it's all, I think fitness as a whole is rooted in sort of this aesthetic type of thing. Like it doesn't
Yes.
matter, if you go to Zumba, you going oh, you're gonna do this, da 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 da. If you go to this, whatever, you're gonna do
Yeah.
this.
You'll dance the weight
And
off in Zumba, right? Like, yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and some people do, you
Hmm.
know, but I think gone, or I don't know if the day has ever been here where people just go into exercise and say, damn, I just want to feel better. Now, I have had clients come in, and these are older clients
Yes.
who have come in and said, you know what, I don't really care. And, like, I
Oh,
just want to feel better. And when I
right.
walk out of here, I feel better.
Well, it's interesting. That is a sentiment. Like I've had a few guys in the space in the last little while, and that is like having like men teaching Pilates coming in from the bodybuilding world, from the resistance training world,
Mm-hmm.
and their narrative is Pilates can get you strong too. So it's not like
Yes.
come in here because you get a six pack abs. Like, wait a minute, you thought you could only get
Mm-hmm.
strong on the weight floor? You can get strong in here as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been an interesting conversation with these guys where like they're just
Mm-hmm.
changing people's mindset. Like, oh, you thought you're coming here for a six pack? No, actually, you're gonna come in here and get strong.
Yeah, because I mean, I can't say that does Pilates help me, does it help me be a better powerlifter? Absolutely it does. But I mean, but I also can't come to Pilates and say I'm going to come in here and because there's nowhere to lift, there's nowhere to deadlift 205 pounds.
Yes.
There's not enough resistance on the springs to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The resistance of the springs, the straps and ropes, or whatever it is that you're using, it's for us to work against it so that we can find, those muscles that are
Yes.
dormant, right? The things
Right.
we never think about. We think about all the superficial things, the larger muscle groups, not the smaller muscle groups and that are attached to those larger muscles and how all of that attaches to the spine. And we don't really think about those kinds of things,
No.
and I would hope that as Pilates instructors that we would start to fight against this whole, like, oh, all you need is Pilates. I've I saw a published article not too long ago where someone said that, and I was like, well, maybe that's for you, but you shouldn't push that kind of narrative, because what it does to you and me as a teacher is that those people read those articles and they
Mm-hmm.
come in and say, all I need is this. Well, no, not really. You know, you really don't. Let's say that you have a client, and I've had a couple clients who have osteoporosis, particularly in the upper back, sort of middle back
Yes.
area. You're going to tell me that Pilates is going to change all of that. They also
Mm-hmm.
need heavy resistance training, which we cannot give them.
Right.
We can't give them that. So I
Right.
always recommend to my clients, like, I know that you don't want to, but hey, resist. I mean, you don't go lifting springs all day, do you?
Nope.
You
Right.
don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't. And as we know, especially you and I as lifters, like I've had teachers put me on I remember I had a teacher put me on 2 springs for pull stress. Like that's you know,
Yeah.
but I mean, and I could pull it with my weight because I'm that
Mm-hmm.
strong, right? Not
Yes.
everybody could do that. Maybe some of
Right.
our bigger folks, they could probably pull it because they have that upper body strength.
Yes.
They could
And to
probably push out
counterbalance
on
it. Right.
5 grot springs,
Mm-hmm.
with no issue at all,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But that's this brute strength, you know.
Yes. And
But
that's like, sorry, like I was saying yesterday too, like anytime I have like any kind of sport conditioning specialists or really, really smart people like yourself to understand movement, the answer to every question is it depends.
yeah, it depends. hmm It depends. And I mean, you could do Pilates every day. That's great. I wish I did Pilates every day, but I don't, you
Yeah.
know. But I mean, is it going to change your body? Yeah, but so will other things. Yoga changes your body too.
Yes.
Just like, squatting, deadlifting, and benching. Now I actually love to bench. I mean, that
Mhm.
changes my body in a different way, you know?
Right. Right.
So if let's say someone came to powerlifting and said, they want a body like this. Most people get into powerlifting because one, it's a hobby, and they also
Hmm.
want to compete and all kinds of things, all kinds of
Yeah.
reasons. But if you look at all the bodies in powerlifting, there's like 50.5 million different types of bodies. There's
Yes.
me, there's you, there's my friend, the powerlifting social worker, who is, a much larger, curvier girl,
Yes.
not ripped or anything like that, but that bitch is strong. She can pull me, you, and a house, because
Yeah.
she's that
Yeah.
strong.
With
So
clean form,
with
beautiful form.
beautiful, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you, even in Olympic weightlifting, you're going to see something completely different. So,
Yeah.
um, I think in Pilates, it's become so elitist that you're
Hmm.
supposed to look like, oh, everybody says you're going to go in, you're going to da 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 da, and you're going to do this. And
Hmm.
then you
Hmm.
see all these beautiful pictures of like the one person I like to look at the most is Anelia Garcia. She's out in Brazil.
Okay.
And she's like a Pilates commander to me because she can like command 50 million people to do Pilates at the same time. But if you look at all those bodies that she's teaching, not everybody's going to look like that.
Right.
They're not. And I
Hmm.
was just thinking, and then I need to get off, that I noticed that not a lot of people are willing to teach beginner classes anymore. Like they're
Oh, I
like, oh, I want to
love
teach
beginner
like
classes.
I want to teach, teachers. Why? They already know that shit. There's like 5 million people out here teaching teachers. Why aren't there people teaching, like, I would go to a basics class in a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's always like this pushing, oh, you're gonna get this body type, you're gonna get
Mhm.
ripped, like you said, you're gonna get this,
Yeah.
that, your boobs gonna lift, all this shit like that, all that bullshit,
Mhm.
when it's like, why can't we just tell people, because you do get stronger, like, hey, don't you want to get stronger? This is going to
Yeah.
help you. And that's how
Right.
I sell my Pilates. You're going to, you want to pick up your groceries and stuff like that. Or if they do, like maybe they love to spin.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I went to a spin class.
Yeah.
Pilates helped me spin. You know why? Because when you
For
got to lift out
sure.
of that seat, it's
Hmm.
not your legs. it's your core body that gets you up there.
Yes.
And they're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, that's how we should sell them on it versus
It's
like,
yeah.
oh, you
And
got
sorry,
that.
I told, and it's funny you mentioned that, like how the core and the lift up for you for spinning. For me, my hip flexors get so crowded and all that stuff. Like I need Pilates to get through a spin class just for the hip mobility. As a guy, it's a total different
Yeah.
sell, but it's the
Yeah.
exact same language.
Yeah. So it's changing the language, changing the narrative, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, thank you
So
so
good.
much for letting me come on. I got to go take a
That's
shower.
all. All
And
right, do your thing.
bye, everyone.
Thanks, Sonja.
See you later.
Yeah, so Pilates, Tracy's saying it's because it's so much easier to teach teachers. I guess that's even that's a depends, right? Like, I mean, like, I just in the chat, who do you prefer teaching? Like teachers and people who are comfortable in the movements, or beginners? Like Nathan Ross Reese was on here the other day, and he said that he had spent so much time working with beginners and also with people with injuries that by the time he got to a place where he was in a setting where there was like strong people and people who know the work, he was so excited to be able to just throw exercises at them and then know the cues, and you could flow with it, and then you could use your eye in a different way to get them deeper into the work. Like there's fun, there's, don't get me wrong, there's fun in teaching teachers, but some people have a passion for beginners, some people have a passion for teaching teachers, and there's people in between. So I'm just curious with the people that are here, some both equally. Thanks, Stella, for jumping on. Yeah, Emmy's saying both equally. What about you? Teachers, beginners, or somewhere in between? Put it in the chat. Who is your preference? Yes, beginners are a fun challenge. Yeah, you know what's funny? Like I love how you say that. It is a fun challenge because you start to really appreciate how different people are when you have a group of beginners and they have a whole different bag. Everyone has a different bag of issues that they're bringing in, and everyone's roll up looks different. Everyone's 100 looks different. Everyone's leg circles look different, for a different reason. Kimberly is saying, I love teaching both. Most of my clients are beginners, and watching the learning process is amazing. You know what? That's I have two community classes on my schedule on purpose for I love that journey. Yesterday, teaching my class, 20 people, something like that, in this class. And I asked people to put their hand up if it's the first time, and like a third of the class was new, and I was like so excited. So having new people, having the same people to grow the class is awesome. But when you have like 8, 9, 10 new people in a class of 20, that's super fun for me. Then here comes the challenge of addressing the person in the room who knows everything and thinks they know everything, and the person who is new to the game, right? So Pilates is saying it is a science experiment to figure out what cues, etc., work, isn't it? I feel like this is like going to sound like the most selfish comment, but when I have a room of people and half the people are new and the other half of the people have been there a long time, I'm like, sweet, this is my chance to get better as a teacher. My game is going to go up today because I'm going to have to find those cues. I'm going to have to find those visuals. I'm going to have to find out, I have to figure out how everyone in the room learns so that we can all get somewhere. And the more you do that, the more reps you get of that under your belt, the better you become as a teacher. So those are the moments when I'm like, man, this is going to be a tough class. And man, I'm going to be so good after this class. Even if I fail epically, you still are going to be better for it. Carol's comment, to me, it's the same teaching clients who need Pilates for therapeutic reasons as it is teaching high performance clients. Interesting. Can you say some more about that? I see where you're going with that. So therapeutic clients for reasons and high performance, they're both trying to improve. They're both focusing on a movement pattern, a goal, some objective. So it's problem solving, it's solution finding, it's challenging them in relevant ways, not relative ways, relevant ways. So yeah, but Kimberly, you're feeling me on that. The challenge. And also, Kimberly, if you want to join me, I know it's early for you, but if you want to join me on screen and talk about your March Madness and everything you're doing, that'd be great. Uh, Brooke, B. Tyler, what's going on? We're having a conversation about lifting weights today, my friend. The So I love what Sonja was just saying too. She's so smart and like understanding that what we do has such an impact and changing that narrative is key. So let's follow up with that conversation with Kimberly here and the universal cues piece too. Let's talk about that. Hi, my friend.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Like walking up.
Um, while you're walking, just reflecting on what Sonja said a second ago about changing the narrative around saying like Pilates is all we need, Pilates is going to do this for you, and that sense of like over promising and under delivering that can happen when we give so much weight to what Pilates can do when there are other modalities that can do other things for you, right? So
Um, yeah, I love that you just touched base on that because I think that she's absolutely right. I mean, I live in Los Angeles, so the Pilates world out here, it definitely has that stigma of certain type of person. And I'll be honest, like I'm a pretty like scrawny. I wouldn't say scrawny, but like my goal with Pilates is really to break that narrative.
mhm.
And being in a place where I live, it is a challenge because a lot of people come in and they're like, I want this, I want that.
I
Like,
want your legs, I want
I
your
want your
six
leg.
pack,
Yeah,
right?
I'm a
Yeah,
professional dancer, so
right.
I mean, there are things I'm doing outside of Pilates as well, but that's the one thing I get is I want your legs, and I'm like, these are genetics. Like these
Yes.
legs are 100. I mean, I work hard to
As yeah,
for
as I
them.
say, they're genetic, but you also have like 20,000 hours of dance moves on those legs too. That this
Yes,
newbie to the Pilates spaces does not like. They're not going to catch up with you, even
absolutely.
if they had
So
the genetics.
I'm almost fighting against, like, I'm not complaining about my body type, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
I'm almost fighting against, and I'm trying to figure out a way to not have me be the center of my, I am, but I'm trying not to have me be the center of my
interesting.
eh, either because
I hear
I'm
what you're
not
saying.
trying to put this, I don't want to put this out there, but this is me, so this is all I can give you. But
Yes,
I
you
don't want
you
this
can't you
being what you
yeah, but you can't stop that though. I mean, that's a
yeah,
them problem, right? Like they're gonna
it
walk in with
is.
that.
It is, but I also am trying to, like, even with my husband Robbie, like I try to like get him maybe to put him as a face for some things as well and things like
Yep,
that.
that works
Because
too. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's literally the number one thing I get when I come in. I want your legs, and I'm just like, what do you want? I try to change the conversation immediately though. And I go,
Right.
what do you actually want though? Like, what are you
Yes.
working on? What is your goal? And
Yeah.
a lot of people are, to lose weight and things like that. And I try to go a little deeper than that. I try not to just take that at face value. And usually about halfway through especially my private clients, about halfway through, we start breaking that down. I
Yes.
start to get not a conversation going because obviously you don't want people to talk. People can get pretty talkative during, sessions.
Yeah.
But I feel like typically by the end of my sessions, I can get them out of I came for your
Your
legs and
legs.
ending with, oh, now my back feels better. Like already halfway through the class, my back feels better,
Yep.
or like my chest feels more stretched, or I felt that in my abs. And we've
Hmm.
now changed that narrative halfway through, and that's usually
Yes.
my goal.
Great.
Yeah, because that's not what I'm out here to.
But
That's
that's
my main goal. If it
no,
happens,
exactly.
great, but it's not. It's not my main goal. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's using your superpower right there, because you know the people are going to come in with that. Whether you advertise, you could be wearing a parka, and people are like,
Yeah.
I want your legs under that parka today, right?
No,
Like
I need
so,
these long legs. They're there.
yeah. That's it. So I mean, so yeah, like you're saying, like unpack that. Well, why?
Yeah.
what does that mean to you? What would that like, and you as you work through the session, you get there. So I think that's great. And with these guys that I've had in the last while, where they've been talking about strength and strength and strength and strength, like that's it's a nice conversation. And even then, people be like, blah blah blah, strength. Let me just get my six pack, and then I'll be on my way. And then they have to come back to like, look at what you're doing today. Look, last week you weren't able to do that. And then there's the language and the narrative around celebrating their achievements along the way that
Yeah.
makes them realize that they're stronger and that they're more capable and they have more energy and all the byproduct stuff that they didn't think they came in for, that they needed, that they now have, right? So,
Exactly. I mean, I think it's up to us as Pilates instructors. If you really do come in wanting what you want, that's great too. That's a goal that
mhm.
you came in and wanted to achieve. But I think also part of our job is opening up that side that maybe they didn't even know they were capable of, or they didn't even know was an option. And I think
Right.
I think that to me is like, I've done my
Nailed
job,
it. For
because,
sure. Love it.
and it's not the easiest thing to do sometimes.
No, yeah.
To tie this into the beginner, like beginners versus teachers, it's so interesting to me because I literally just got done teaching, and I've been teaching this class for a year now. And I walked into it with another teacher that I had been teaching. She left, and it was a virtual class too. So I'd never met these people. And a lot of them were on like that beginner level. And that's why I made that comment. I love watching the journey, because
Yes.
we've been on foundation exercises for most of our journey throughout this year. And just like today, that we start introducing more intermediate, and we did like side bend, we did rollover, and like
Mm.
all of them are handling it like champs. And this is virtual.
Yes.
So I've been usually would not take that long, but I'm not there in person. And
Hmm.
I just don't want to. And the age range is a little bit more mature too.
Yes.
So I just don't, I want to make sure we're all moving together. And like
Not
you said,
not trying to get in. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
challenging when you have
For
that one
sure.
person that is maybe a little bit more advanced. However, I can take a foundation class and I can be sweating my butt off the whole way through. So
Hmm.
again, I think it's up to us. Again, if you have the clients that can do it, go for it. But I think it's up to us too. Like, foundation classes are very challenging. Like, you just need to make sure that the teacher's getting you there, but you got the right instructor and you're going to get there.
Yes.
So teaching beginners
Agreed.
to me is so much fun, because you get to take them from, not just from an exercise standpoint for me,
Hmm.
but they get to learn that even just a little pelvic tilt, if you know how to activate the muscles correctly and you know the reason
Yes.
why you're doing it, now
That
you got
why.
now you got a back stretch out of it too. And
Right.
just that one little exercise completely changes how they see the rest of the exercises. So
Yes. I see Brooke B. Tyler's in the middle of writing something there. Brooke, if you want to join us on screen, if you want to jump on, you can too. I'm going to read what she says here. I have found it interesting how the Pilates community can critique a muscle strong woman. Maybe Sonja talked with you about that. Yeah, so we talked about that a little bit in terms of the powerlifting community, how there's so many different body types. There's like, as she said, 55 million trillion body types in the in the powerlifting community, and all of them have great form, all of them are strong, and some are stronger than others and stuff like that, but there's no Pilates body of powerlifting. You are just who you are, and you come with your strength and your technique, and you bring that. So yeah, so that's part of the conversation. Let me bring Brooke on if she wants to talk more about it, if she can or not, but I'll invite her in. If you got a second, Kimberly.
I think that's interesting too. I mean, I'm not a power lifter. I haven't really interacted with a lot of power lifters,
Mhm.
but I feel like anyone that's bringing in any other type of modality into Pilates, I mean, power lifters are strong people. Like, why not take it and build on
Hey,
that?
hi, Brooke. Brooke, this is Kimberly. Kimberly, Brooke.
Hi, good morning.
Is it working? My
can you
connection might
talk
be
to that
bad. I'm
muscle
about to
strong
park.
women?
You know, it's very dangerous driving. Hi.
Hi.
That's like spooling. Let's see what happens here.
Oh yeah, I feel like her internet's refreshing, or maybe
Yeah, yeah.
do a
But yeah, and it's interesting. Like I was saying to Sonja too, while we're waiting for Brooke to uh, jump back in here, um, how like the conversation with men implies is different, right? Like how like it's if we don't have, I don't have to address the I want those legs kind of conversation, right? I don't have to navigate that as a male Pilates instructor. So like it's just funny how like your plate is different than mine coming into the with people coming into the space, right?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because before COVID, I taught for 2 corporate companies,
Okay.
and they were predominantly within the company. They're predominantly men. So I actually started out my Pilates like journey teaching mostly men,
Yes.
which was very different, I think, than most. And it was still new to me. So,
That's great.
but it's interesting because I think how I teach it, I was able to connect with them, I think, well.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
and it was amazing. I loved all my clients. They were,
Welcome back.
there we go.
Yes, but Kimberly, that's like just on the training guys though. That's almost like, from my perspective, that's like winning a Super Bowl in your first year. And we use that analogy with your dance stuff too, right? Because like you're exposed to a whole different subset of people doing Pilates that most times you get like one guy in your class, 2 guys in your class. So you don't have to figure out how to navigate guys in the ways that they're gonna what they're gonna bring to Pilates. Like you're gonna have that tool in your toolbox right out the gate.
Yeah, I
That's
usually
like
have like 6
fantastic.
men in my class,
Yeah.
out of like 9. And it was, and it's not from even like a mental standpoint teaching men. It's different physically. It's different how they're built, the torso. So I
Yep.
had to switch my mindset too, because like I was very different from
Yeah.
the
Oh,
that I
that's
was
a
teaching, and
whole.
my cues that I was
Yep.
giving that I would normally give for maybe my female clients, I had to quickly shift that,
Mhm.
because it was just from a physiological standpoint, not even like a mental.
For sure. I want to
Yeah.
give some time to Brooke here too, but like
Yeah.
it's funny how like even with the like teacher trains, like I mean Jamie's brought me in to do her teacher train just to be a body. Like she's doing a math class. She's like, can you come and just can I just teach you so they can see what it looks like and what my cues are teaching a guy, right? Like I mean, because it is there is some nuances to that. But hi, Brooke, how are you?
Hi. So good. How are you? I think this is
I
a
just
fun
love your
conversation. I
smile. So
missed the
funny.
first part with
Yeah.
Sonja. Um,
Oh
but I
yeah.
think it's
So
interesting. I did a lot of weightlifting in college, and then not so much sense. I like the, like more the body weight. I would call it like Pilates parkour, which
yes.
is kind of like, your strength training, but it's just you. But yeah, I think you're right on the men, but I teach a lot of both teenage boys, and then we've had a lot of men in the studio. And, the class I created called Chisel, it's like a kick your ass. And so that is a very athletic, and one class a week typically has a lot of guys like mountain biker dudes, runners, like in their 40s and their 50s. And actually Asheville has a lot of yogis, and you get these men in there who are strong yogis, like they can, and they're transitioning from their standing into their plank through like little handstand kick-ups, just messing around. And they're, mid 50s. They just got off their mountain bike. So really fun.
Nice.
But I think that to make Pilates land for a like strength-based audience really works. I've had a lot of success with that and think it's really important.
Absolutely. So what was your comment about like strength in women and stuff like that? Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I have, similarly like what you were saying, Kimberly, which I think is I will get the leg comment too. And then
Yes,
you have
story.
a Pilates body. I'm like, yeah. straight up and down. And there's a genetic piece to just that. And then I work my tail off. Like I work out a lot every day. But I was more critiqued as an apprentice, and then even recently, actually, and the last few years on our trips out to a classical studio in LA, that say I had too many muscles. Like my criticism is your legs are too big, too strong, or your arms are too strong, your muscles are too big, which is actually interesting to have that be the feedback.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a funny thing that people will think there's only sort of body criticism from the one angle.
Yes.
But it's been the other way, which isn't great.
How did you, like, so how did you feel when they said that to you? Like, what did you do with that comment?
Ignored it. You know, when I was an apprentice, so I apprenticed, you know, I was 22 when I started apprenticing. I was road bike racing. So I was like, yeah, I had legs. Like I was, you know, I'd finished college, I'd finished basketball. I was kind of phasing out of weightlifting, but still liked to go to the gym and weightlift. But I was racing my road bike. I was doing cyclocross races. So like I had quads. And I was rather proud of them.
As you should be. Well earned.
I worked hard to have these legs because, you know, I can sprint. You know, I can do it. Like I was even doing like yeah, I was in in that scene for a little bit. So I guess for me, I reframed it for myself as like, okay, what this means is I need to not power every movement from my muscles, but find the nuances that are going to make me stronger because I am strong. Now, how do I find my strength with ease? And whether that's how people work.
Yes.
They weren't necessarily articulating that, but that's how I just decided to interpret it. Like, sure, okay, I am 22, I am 23, I can power through shit. Like, I've done that, I can do that. So it was a good learning of, okay, how can I use all my strength but move with more ease? And so it did make me a better athlete because I wasn't legging it all, and now I can connect with that too.
Right.
But it is like you know, you've heard me say it's important for me to be a woman who can do a pull-up. So like I'm happy to have some upper body strength and some arms.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think they're too big, I think that's a you problem at this stage. You know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I find it very interesting that would have been your feedback because someone came into me that had that. I would like it would be totally opposite for me. I'd go, wow, I have so much, like you already have so much to work with. Let's try to find the counter muscles that like balance. It would be more of a balancing issue for me than anything else. It'd be like, what can we balance so that you're working those other muscles and now we can make everything stronger. It wouldn't be, it's too much. It would be like, what can we add?
Yeah.
How
like
can we
it's whole and
complete this?
integrated. You know, I work really hard to make sure it's an integrated kind of strength. But yeah, I think, anyway, that was my share.
No, I appreciate that. And the guy yesterday is a physique competitor, right? So we were talking about symmetry and muscles, and that's the balance with Pilates as well, not just with making sure that you do all three parts of your deltoid on a side raise, right? Like, there's that piece to it too. And when all of us are talking in the same language when it comes to strength, right? So pretty cool.
That's that art of movement, that it's integrated as a whole. And I think that's what we bring to the table as Pilates teachers that are so, you know, so unique compared to, even as we see somebody come in with an injury, is we're seeing the whole thing, not, oh, let's just look at your shoulder. What's wrong with your shoulder? You know?
Yeah,
I think that
absolutely.
integrated piece is huge.
Amazing. So true. And Emmy's coming right back to the goal thing once again. Like everything kind of circles right back to that. Like regardless of however you slice it, like what is your goal when you walk into the building? And how do we get you there? Nice. Thank you, ladies. I love having both of you here. I'm glad that both of you have.
I know. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
And that's good stuff. Emmy has one more comment here. When you work to achieve a goal like pull-ups, your body necessarily changes to accommodate it. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I've always said that for myself in terms of my body too, is like it's performance first. Like if I'm trying to become a better sprinter, my body is going to accommodate the look that a sprinter needs to be able to sprint well. I'm not going for a sprinter look,
Yeah.
for
Right.
example, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
what it feels like and what you can, where you can take it with you, how you can play with it.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Awesome. All right, party people. Kimberly, Brooke, thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys jumping on.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you. Great morning. Yeah. Have a good day,
Hmm.
everyone.
1 and 2. Got it. All right. All right, everyone.